Don't scroll past this. Don't look away. And whatever you do, don't pretend you didn't feel that knot tighten in your chest the moment you saw this title. Because somebody right now, somebody close, is sitting somewhere comfortable, thinking they got away with it, thinking the files they took, the documents they forged, the identity they stole from you, thinking all of that is buried deep enough that no one will ever know. But here's what they don't know. Heaven keeps better records than any courthouse on earth. Let me ask you something, and I want you to be gut-level honest with yourself. Have you ever felt like someone took something from you that wasn't just physical but spiritual, like they didn't just steal your money, your property, your paperwork? They stole your place, your peace, your name? Have you ever laid awake at 3 a.m., replaying it in your mind, wondering why nobody believed you, why the system failed you, why even people you trusted turned their backs? And the worst part? They're still walking around free, still smiling, still pretending, still using what belongs to you. I know that feeling. The kind of betrayal that doesn't just hurt your heart, it bruises your faith. Because you start asking God, if you see everything, why haven't you done anything? Listen to me carefully, chosen one. God didn't forget. He's been building a case, and the gavel is about to drop. Your life has a file in heaven's court. And right now, God just pulled it off the shelf. Not to punish you, to vindicate you, the one who walked into rooms they had no right to enter, who signed papers with your name, who whispered lies while you stood in silence. They are being summoned, not by man, by the Most High. Before we go any further, I need you to do something. If you feel that stirring in your spirit right now, that confirmation that says, "This is about me," I want you to type one word in the comments: justice. Not for revenge, but because you believe God still defends the innocent, because you believe truth still matters, because deep down you know someone is about to answer for what they did. And listen, thank you to every single one of you who has supported this message through Super Thanks. Your generosity means more than you know. You're not just giving, you're helping spread light to others who feel forgotten in their pain, isolated in their calling. Whether you give or not, I'm deeply grateful. Your presence here, your time, your faith, it all matters. Now stay with me to the very end, because I'm going to pray a prayer so specific, so powerful, that hell itself will have to take notice. This is your moment, and it starts now. You didn't just scroll. You were summoned. Let me ask you something real, something that might make your hands tremble just thinking about it. Have you ever felt like the universe was trying to tell you something, but you kept brushing it off as coincidence, like doors kept closing in your face, and you told yourself it was just bad timing? Like people kept walking away, and you convinced yourself it was just life? What if I told you none of it was random? What if every delay, every closed door, every person who turned their back on you was God repositioning you for this exact moment? Not to punish you, to protect you. Because what's about to unfold requires you to be exactly where you are right now, watching this, hearing this, feeling this weight in your chest that says, "This is about me." You didn't stumble on this message by accident. Heaven scheduled this appointment. See, there's something most people don't understand about God. He doesn't work in chaos. He works in precision. The Bible tells us in Proverbs 15:3, "The eyes of the Lord are in every place, keeping watch on the evil and the good." Every place, every moment, every whispered lie, every forged signature, every stolen file, every room they walked into using your name. God saw it all, and He's been keeping records. Not the kind you can delete from a hard drive, not the kind you can shred in some back office at 2 a.m. I'm talking about the kind of records that exist in the courts of heaven, where truth doesn't bend, where lies can't hide, where justice isn't negotiable. They thought they were clever. They thought covering their tracks in the natural realm meant they were safe. But here's what they forgot. You can fool a judge, you can manipulate a lawyer, you can even deceive the people closest to you. But you cannot, under any circumstances, outrun the God who sees in the dark. Think about it. How many nights did you lie awake, staring at the ceiling, asking God, why? Why did you let them do this to me? Why did you let them take what was mine? Why does it feel like I'm being punished for being honest? You felt abandoned, didn't you? You felt like maybe you were crazy. Maybe you imagined it. Maybe you were overreacting. Because when everyone around you stays silent, when the people who should have stood up for you turn away, when the systems that were supposed to protect you fail, you start doubting yourself. But listen to me closely. Your silence was never weakness. Your silence was strategy. Because while you were holding your tongue, biting back the rage, choosing not to expose them publicly, not to scream your truth from the rooftops, God was working. He was watching. He was collecting every piece of evidence they thought they'd hidden, every email they thought they deleted, every conversation they thought was private, every scheme they whispered in the shadows. And now the alarm has sounded. Not on earth. In heaven. Your life isn't just dates on a calendar, birthdays and anniversaries and doctor's appointments. Your life is a timeline that heaven can see from your first breath to your last. And right now, on that timeline, there's a red circle around this moment, this day, this hour. Because justice delayed is not justice denied. It's justice being perfected. You see, when man moves, he moves in haste. He reacts. He gets emotional. He makes mistakes. But when God moves, he moves with surgical precision. He waits for the exact moment when every piece is in place, when every witness is ready, when every lie has been told so many times that it contradicts itself. And that moment is now. There is one person, one face. Maybe you see it clearly in your mind right now. Maybe their voice is echoing in your memory. The one who smiled to your face and plotted behind your back. The one who said they loved you while reaching for what was yours. The one who walked into rooms, signed papers, accessed accounts, used your identity like a costume they could just take off when they were done. That person is about to learn something they never thought possible. You can run from man, but you cannot outrun the records God keeps. See, they thought time was on their side. They thought the longer they got away with it, the safer they were. They thought your silence meant you'd given up, that you'd moved on, that you'd forgotten. But God doesn't operate on their timeline. He operates on His. And His timing is always, always perfect. Right now, something is shifting in the atmosphere. You might not see it yet with your natural eyes, but your spirit feels it, doesn't it? That strange heaviness in the air, that sense that something massive is about to break open. That feeling you've had for weeks now, maybe months, that whispers, wait, just wait a little longer. That wasn't your imagination. That was God preparing you. Because what's coming isn't just vindication. It's not just your name being cleared or your property being returned. What's coming is a complete exposure, a total unraveling of everything they built on lies. A divine dismantling of the false life they constructed using your stolen identity. And here's the part that might shock you. You won't even have to lift a finger. You won't have to hire the lawyer. You won't have to gather the evidence. You won't have to convince anyone of your innocence. Because the one who defends you never loses a case. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14:14. Be still. Not passive, not defeated, not giving up. Still, like the surface of water right before the storm breaks. Like the quiet before thunder shakes the ground. Like the moment before justice walks through the door and changes everything. So I'm asking you right now, as someone who's walked with God long enough to know how He works, do you believe He sees you? Do you believe he heard every prayer you cried in the dark? Do you believe that what was stolen from you still carries your name in heaven's records? Because, if you do, then you need to understand what's about to happen next. Someone is being summoned, not to a courtroom you can see, to one you can't. And the verdict has already been written, naming the wound: betrayal, theft, secret files. Maybe you're older now. You've worked your whole life, 40 years, 50 years, maybe more. You put your head down, you paid your taxes, you raised your kids, you planted roots, you signed the papers, you trusted the system, and you believed that what you built would be waiting for you when the time came to pass it on. And then something happened. Papers went missing, a will got changed, a deed disappeared, a signature that wasn't yours showed up on documents you never even saw. A bank account you trusted, money you bled for, got touched by hands that had no right to go near it. And when you tried to speak up, when you tried to show people what was happening, they looked at you like you were confused, like you were getting old, like maybe you just forgot. But you didn't forget. You know what you signed, you know what you said, you know who you trusted, and you know deep in your bones that something was taken from you. Maybe it wasn't even the money that hurt the most. Maybe it was your good name they dragged through the mud. Maybe it was the way they looked at you afterward, the whispers, the cold shoulders, the family members who stopped calling, the friends who suddenly got quiet when you walked into the room. They didn't just steal from you, they stole you. They walked around wearing your name like a mask, using your credit, your reputation, your identity. And while you sat there trying to untangle the mess, they were out there living off what you built, spending what you saved, inheriting what wasn't theirs to take. And the worst part, you felt something was off long before you had proof. You'd wake up at 2 a.m., heart pounding, mind racing. Something wasn't right. You couldn't put your finger on it, but your spirit knew. You'd check the mail twice. You'd call the bank 3 times. You'd ask questions and get answers that didn't add up. And people told you to relax, to stop worrying, to let it go. But you couldn't, because that wasn't paranoia. That was discernment. That was the Holy Spirit tapping your shoulder, saying, "Pay attention, something's wrong here." God gave you that feeling for a reason. He saw what you couldn't see yet. He heard what was being whispered behind closed doors. He watched as they forged your signature, changed the locks, rerouted your mail, and smiled in your face while robbing you blind. The Bible says it plainly. The eyes of the Lord are in every place, keeping watch on the evil and the good. Proverbs 15:3. God saw it all, and He's been keeping record. I want you to understand something. What they took wasn't just paper, it was sacred. Those weren't just files, those were years, decades, lifetimes. That wasn't just money in an account. That was your father's sweat, your mother's sacrifice, your own blood, turned into something you could leave behind for the people you loved. And they treated it like it was nothing, like you were nothing. But you are not nothing. You are a child of the Most High God, and what was done to you in secret is about to be shouted from the rooftops. I know some of you right now are sitting there, and your chest is tight, because this isn't theory, this is your life, this is your story. You've been carrying this weight alone because nobody believed you, nobody understood, nobody cared enough to dig deeper. But I'm here to tell you, God believed you, God understood, and God has been digging. He's been collecting evidence while you've been crying. He's been marking timestamps while you've been praying. And every lie they told, every document they faked, every time they walked into a room they had no business being in, it's all been recorded in a court that never sleeps and never loses a case. You thought you were forgotten. You thought justice would never come. You thought maybe you were too old, too tired, too broken to fight anymore. But that's exactly when heaven steps in. Because God doesn't need you to be young and strong. He needs you to be willing and faithful, and you've been both. Even when it hurt. Even when nobody saw. Even when you wanted to give up, you kept believing. You kept trusting. You kept standing. And now, right now, the page is turning. There's a reason you're hearing this message today. It's not random. It's not a coincidence. God led you here because He's about to move in your situation. Not someday. Not eventually. Soon. The one who took from you is being watched. Not by you. By angels. Their movements are being tracked. Their lies are being catalogued. And the net is tightening. You don't have to fight this fight. You don't have to post on social media or call the news or scream your case to anyone who'll listen. You just have to stand still and watch the salvation of the Lord. The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still. Exodus 14:14. Still doesn't mean silent. It means surrendered. It means you're done trying to defend yourself. You're done trying to prove what happened. You're letting God handle it. And when God handles something, it doesn't just get fixed, it gets flipped. What they stole is coming back, not in pieces, in fullness, with interest, with favor, with vindication so clear that even those who doubted you will have no choice but to see the hand of God on your life. If you know exactly what I'm talking about, if this is hitting so close to home that you can barely breathe, I want you to do something right now. Wherever you are, just nod your head and whisper, "Lord, you saw it." Say it out loud. Let your voice agree with heaven, because that simple act of faith is a legal declaration in the courts of eternity. You're not begging, you're agreeing, you're aligning. You're saying, "I trust you, God. I believe you've been watching, and I'm ready for what you're about to do, because what's coming next? It's not just closure, it's not just justice. It's a divine reversal so complete, so undeniable, that it will restore not just what was taken, but your confidence, your peace, your name, and the world will see it. So hold on. Stay steady. Keep your eyes on heaven. Because the evidence is mounting, the case is being built, and the one who thought they got away with it, they're about to learn that nothing, absolutely nothing, is hidden from the God who sees all and forgets none. Now let me show you exactly what's happening behind the scenes right now. The courts of heaven. God opened your case. You need to understand something that most people will never grasp in their entire lifetime. There is a courtroom that exists beyond what your eyes can see, beyond marble pillars and mahogany benches, beyond bailiffs and stenographers and metal detectors at the entrance. This courtroom doesn't operate on appointments. It doesn't close at 5 o'clock. And it doesn't care how much money you have for a good lawyer. This is the court of heaven. And right now, right this very second, your case has been opened, not filed away, not postponed, not dismissed for lack of evidence, opened. The Bible tells us in Proverbs 15:3, "The eyes of the Lord are in every place, keeping watch on the evil and the good." That means nothing. Nothing escapes His notice. Not the whispered phone call at midnight. Not the signature they forged when they thought no one was looking. Not the lie they told with a straight face while standing in your living room. God saw it all. And He's been keeping record. You know what breaks my heart? It's the number of people who think that because justice didn't come fast, it's not coming at all. They think that because the system failed them, that because the authorities shrugged their shoulders, that because even their own family didn't believe them, they think God forgot. But let me tell you something about the God we serve. He doesn't forget. He doesn't miss details. And He never, ever loses a case. While you were crying yourself to sleep, wondering if anyone cared, God was in His courtroom, gathering evidence. While you were being gaslit, told you were paranoid, told you were imagining things, heaven was recording every single word spoken against you. Every single word. You think those deleted emails are gone. They're archived in heaven. You think those shredded documents disappeared. God has copies. You think the lies they told in secret will stay buried. Heaven has audio. The enemy thought he was slick. He thought he could rob you in the dark and walk away clean. But he forgot one crucial truth that's written in Numbers 32:23. Be sure your sin will find you out. Not might find you out. Not could find you out. Will find you out. It's not a possibility. It's a promise. It's a spiritual law as fixed as gravity. What goes up must come down, and what is done in darkness will be brought to light. Now here's where it gets powerful. You've been testifying this whole time without even opening your mouth. Every time you chose to stay silent instead of cursing them out, that was testimony. Every time you prayed instead of plotting revenge, that was evidence submitted to heaven's court. Every time you cried alone in your room instead of blasting them on social media, God recorded it as a witness statement. You weren't being weak. You were being wise. You weren't being passive. You were being obedient. And obedience in the face of injustice, that carries weight in heaven's court that you cannot even imagine. Exodus 14:14 says, "The Lord will fight for you. You need only to be still." You needed to be still so God could move. You needed to step back so heaven could step in. And now, the fight you thought you'd have to wage yourself, God has taken it over, completely. Picture this with me for a moment. Right now, in the realm you cannot see with natural eyes, there are angelic beings moving. There are scrolls being unrolled. There are books being opened. Files, spiritual files with your name on them, are being laid out before the Judge of all the earth. And your name, beloved, is not being whispered in accusation anymore. It's being spoken in honor. The very courts of heaven are reviewing your case. Not because you hired the right attorney, not because you knew the right people, but because you belong to the King. And when the King's child is violated, the King responds. The divine prosecutor has stood up, and he's not presenting theories, he's presenting facts. Cold, hard, undeniable facts. Digital footprints, paper trails, recorded conversations, signed confessions that people don't even realize they made. Because here's what people don't understand about lying. Every lie creates a crack, and eventually those cracks become canyons. The person who stole from you, they're walking on fractured ground right now, and they don't even know it. They think they're standing on solid concrete, but underneath, the foundation is crumbling. One question, one audit, one routine check. That's all it's going to take. And suddenly, the house of cards collapses. You want to know what's happening right now in the spirit? Angels are being dispatched. Not with swords drawn for battle. This battle is already won. They're being sent with warrants, spiritual subpoenas, divine summons. The one who touched what was consecrated to you, who walked into rooms they had no authority to enter, who used your name like it was theirs to borrow, they are being called to account. Not in 6 months, not next year, now. Heaven doesn't operate on your timeline. It operates on divine precision. And the appointed time, it has arrived. Do you feel that shift in the atmosphere? That's not anxiety. That's not fear. That's the sound of heaven's gavel about to drop. And when it drops, there will be no appeal, no loophole, no escape clause, because the judge who presides over this court, he is perfect in justice, he is terrifying in holiness, and he does not take bribes. I need you to hear this clearly. Your silence was not weakness, it was strategy. Your tears were not wasted. They were collected in heaven's bottles. Your restraint was not cowardice. It was obedience that heaven has now marked as evidence in your favor. And the very thing the enemy thought he stole from you, your place, your peace, your inheritance, Your name, it's about to be returned. Not just returned, restored. With interest. Right now, as I'm speaking these words, someone close to the one who wronged you is starting to feel uneasy. They're starting to see cracks in the story. They're starting to ask questions. And soon, very soon, they're going to speak. Not to clear your name at first, but to save their own skin. Because when the ship starts sinking, the rats always speak first. And that confession, it's going to open a floodgate of truth that no one will be able to stop. You won't have to say a word. The evidence will scream for you. So let me ask you this. Are you ready to watch God defend you in a way that leaves no room for doubt? Are you ready to see justice, real justice, that doesn't come from man's courtroom, but from heaven's throne? Because what's coming next is not just vindication. It's divine reversal. And the world is about to see what happens when heaven fights for one of its own. This person thought they'd never get caught. Let me tell you something about the one who took from you. They didn't just stumble into your life by accident. They studied you. They watched how you moved, how you trusted, how you signed your name. They memorized the rhythm of your routine, the passwords you typed, the files you kept sacred. And while you believed in loyalty, while you opened doors out of love, they were making copies of your keys. They smiled in your face while digging behind your back. Think about that for a moment. Really let it sink in. The person who sat across from you at the dinner table, the one who called you family, the one who said, "I got you," while their fingers were already reaching into what was never theirs to touch. They didn't just betray you once. They woke up every single day and chose deception, day after day. Signature after signature, li after li. They forged documents with your name on them. They manipulated systems you didn't even know existed. They accessed accounts, properties, inheritance, things that carried your bloodline, your sweat, your legacy, and they treated it all like a game board. And you were just a piece they could move, a pawn they could sacrifice. But here's what gets me. Here's what should make your spirit stand at attention right now. They thought they'd never get caught. They thought the signatures they altered would stay buried in filing cabinets that nobody checks anymore. They thought the files they deleted, gone, erased, wiped clean, would never resurrect. They thought the passwords they changed would lock you out forever, that the doors they slammed in your face would never swing back open. They thought silence meant safety. But beloved, let me remind you of something the word makes crystal clear. Proverbs 15:3 says, "The eyes of the Lord are in every place, keeping watch on the evil and the good." Every single place. That means the room they whispered in. God was there. The office where they forged your signature. Angels were recording. The late-night phone calls where they plotted your downfall. Heaven has the transcripts, every keystroke, every deleted email, every backroom deal. God keeps better records than the FBI, better archives than any court on this earth. You see, they were so confident in their cleverness, so proud of their schemes. They walked around with their head high, their reputation intact, their circle of influence still nodding in agreement. And meanwhile, you were the one labeled crazy, bitter, paranoid, unstable. People looked at you sideways when you tried to explain what happened. Even your own family said, "Just let it go, move on, you're making yourself look bad." But you couldn't let it go, could you? Because it wasn't just about the money, it wasn't just about the land or the account or the documents. It was about your name, your dignity, your God-given place in this world. And when someone tries to erase that, when they try to rewrite your story and put their name where yours should be, that's not something you just move on from. That's theft of identity, theft of destiny, theft of divine assignment. And God doesn't play games with destiny thieves. Let me paint you a picture. Right now, somewhere, this person is living their life. Maybe they're sleeping just fine. Maybe they're planning their next move, their next victim, their next manipulation. Maybe they've even convinced themselves that what they did was justified. They didn't need it anyway. They weren't using it right. I deserved it more. But beloved, let me tell you what's happening in the realm you can't see. Someone higher has reviewed the footage. Not a judge in a black robe. Not a detective with a badge. I'm talking about the judge of all the earth. The one who never sleeps, never blinks, never misses a single detail. And right now, he's compiling the evidence. Every forged signature is being matched. Every lie is being cross-referenced. Every stolen moment is being time-stamped in heaven's ledger. And soon, very soon, they won't be able to sleep the same way. You know why? Because guilt has a way of crawling into the quiet places. It waits until 3 a.m. when the distractions fade and the house is still. That's when the whispers start. What if someone finds out? What if it all comes back? What if I lose everything I built on someone else's foundation? Fear doesn't announce itself with sirens. It seeps in like cold air under a locked door. And right now, chosen one, the temperature is dropping in their world. But let me take you deeper. Let me show you something that's going to shake you to your core. Because this isn't just about one person getting caught. This is about a pattern, a spiritual principle that never fails. Galatians 6-7 says, "Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. A man reaps what he sows. You cannot plant deception and harvest peace. You cannot sow betrayal and reap blessing. You cannot steal another person's inheritance and expect heaven to protect yours. The universe doesn't work that way. God doesn't work that way." They thought they were building an empire, but they were actually digging a grave. Every lie they told became another shovel of dirt. Every document they forged became another nail in the coffin of their credibility. Every time they walked past you with that smug look on their face, acting like they won, they were actually walking closer to the edge of a cliff they couldn't see. And now? Now they're standing on the very edge. One more step, one more move, one more attempt to cover their tracks, and it's over. Let me tell you what happens when heaven starts tracking a thief. First, the walls start closing in, not physically, spiritually. Things that used to work for them suddenly don't. Connections that used to open doors start going cold. People who used to trust them start asking questions. The system they manipulated, it starts glitching. Files they thought were deleted, they resurface. Signatures they thought were perfect. Experts start noticing the inconsistencies. Second, someone on the inside flips. Always, every single time. Because loyalty built on lies is the weakest foundation in existence. Someone who helped them, someone who stayed quiet, someone who didn't want to get involved, suddenly grows a conscience, or gets scared, or realizes they're about to go down with the ship. And when that person talks, when that person brings receipts, brings proof, brings the smoking gun, it's over. Third, divine timing kicks in. See, God doesn't move on your schedule. He doesn't rush because you're angry. He doesn't delay because you're tired of waiting. He moves when the evidence is irrefutable, when the trap is set perfectly, when there's no way out, no escape route, no lawyer slick enough to twist the truth. And beloved, we are in that moment right now. I don't know your name. I don't know your specific story. But if you're still watching, if something in your spirit is vibrating with recognition right now, it's because God is speaking directly to you. This isn't entertainment. This isn't just a good message. This is a prophetic word over your life. The one who took from you is being tracked. Their days of freedom are numbered, and soon, very soon, you're going to see something happen that will make you fall to your knees in gratitude. Not because you wanted revenge, but because you needed proof that God still sees, that justice still exists, that truth still matters. So let me ask you this, And I need you to answer honestly, even if it's just in your heart. Do you still believe God can turn this around? Do you still believe that what was stolen can be restored? Do you still believe your name can be cleared, your reputation rebuilt, your inheritance returned? Because if you do, if even a flicker of faith is still burning inside you, then stay with me, because what I'm about to show you next will prove that heaven's justice isn't just real, it's inevitable. Closing. You are not alone. Beloved, if you've stayed with me until this very moment, it means something inside you needed to hear this. Not by accident, not by chance, by divine appointment. Let me remind you of what we've walked through together today. Someone took what was yours, your files, your identity, your inheritance. They thought they'd never face consequences. But heaven has been building a case. And justice, true justice, is not just coming, it's already in motion. The signatures they forged, being examined. The lies they told, unraveling. The confidence they wore like armor, cracking under the weight of truth. But here's what I need you to hold on to as you leave this moment. You are not forgotten. You are not invisible. You are not crazy for feeling what you felt, for knowing what you knew, for refusing to let go of the truth even when everyone else told you to move on. God saw every tear. He heard every prayer.